of girl. Let's wind up on a political note again, because you have something that I don't have. I've never served. I was a war protester from Vietnam on, and
Interrupt right while this thought comes to mind.
Go for it.
Okay, our camp was located about 8 miles northwest of Da Nang, and word got around that I was a folk singer among many other things, and a CBS radio crew came to interview me and wanted to hear some of my songs, because there I was writing both pro and anti-Vietnam songs at the same time. So
in Vietnam.
So they recorded 2 and did a broadcast in the States.
That's really cool. Is that how you got the Will Rogers Follies?
Oh no, that came much, much later.
When you were able to play the father?
Yes, it was either do the national tour or possibly play the father for the run in Branson, Missouri. But Pat Boone was playing Will, and I didn't quite think I could carry playing his father, because he was much older than I was.
Yeah, that's a little weird. Oh boy. Okay, so I've just got this image of Pat Boone in my head now, and it's frightening.
I could tell you a very frightening story that one of his co-stars told me, but I'll have to save it for when we are not together on air.
Yeah, that would be probably best idea.
Yeah. Kind of like the Weinstein thing. You avoid litigation.
Exactly. You're so good. So, but I was like, okay, you've served. I haven't yet.
It's not too late, Yoni. You could always.
Hey, I become a senior citizen a week from Saturday, so it's getting late. But I am so fucking angry about what has happened, what hasn't happened, that this bastard Putin actually, I mean, it's like a mob hit, hey, get the American soldiers and here's $100,000 or whatever the hell he was paying. And Trump knew it, and he never said anything. He never, I mean, it's insane.
Yes, it is. But he's under Putin's thumb. There can be no doubt about that. The only thing we don't know is exactly why.
Yeah, well.
But ever since he had that meeting and came out and told everybody, well, I talked to my buddy here about it. He says they didn't do it, and I can't see any reason why they would. We knew right then. He's totally under the thumb.
Yeah, I agree. It's frightening, and it's corrupt, and I can't stand it. And I know you can't either.
No, that's why I look forward to what? November 3rd.
Yes. And what about our Yankees? What do we do?
What do we do? We watch them. We support them. We love them.
Are they actually playing?
They were doing summer camp games yesterday, and I think they have one tonight. And then Thursday is the official opening day. For 60 games.
I don't know how they're going to do it. I mean, I guess on the field, social distancing works because you're more than 6 feet away from your fellow players, except for the catcher.
So when someone slides into first, will the first baseman make the tag or step away?
It's a good question. I mean, and what do you do in the dugout?
No, they're together so far. They get tested a lot. And they've had several players who had to sit out some of the late spring training or summer training because they were COVID positive. But they rotate back into the rotation and keep going.
Wow. It's amazing. And on that happy note, I think we're going to end this Because if the Yankees are coming back, what else is there?
November 3rd.
What happens on November 3rd? Remind me.
November 3rd is when we begin to take out the trash.
Ladies and gentlemen, my friend, actor, director, writer, bon vivant, and Vietnam veteran Joe Doyle. Let's hear it for Joe. Yay, Joe. Okay. I wasn't going to name an asshole of the week this week, but let's face it, there was such an abundance of assholiness on display. How could I resist? I couldn't. It was really a close race this week. And I think I should start with the runner-up because this is a story that I just love. There was a woman who went into a Panera's in Chico, California. She's been dubbed Panera Patty. And she went in without a mask. And when she got to the counter people said, "We will not serve you without a mask." Well, this was a highly insulting, and the woman went bananas. And she's just raging on. Oops, I hit the mic. Raging on, and just kept going and going. When the guy in back of her had the audacity to say, "Stop being a moron and put on a mask." Well, I mean, that was it. She turned to him and breathed in his direction. I don't know how many feet away he was, but she attempted to breathe at him. And here's the capper that won her runner-up asshole of the week. She said, "You think that mask is going to protect you?" She then pointed to her pants and said, "When you fart out your ass, you can smell it." Okay, that's logical, except a virus is not transmitted via fart. She has all the medical education of Chuck Woolery. Anyway, she still remains unnamed, but if Twitter has anything to say about it, I have a feeling that won't last long. And she is our runner-up asshole of the week, given her remarks. How fitting. Now we come to the asshole of the week. And it was a rough choice. Now, I know some of you think that Herr Twitler should always be the asshole of the week. And in point of fact, he is. But he's in a place reserved for someone who is so far out in their scumbaggery that they're by themselves. I mean, there's no one can touch him. You know, he's just him. So the person I have chosen as asshole of the week, as it happens, is an appointee of Herr Twitler. We're talking about none other than acting Department of Homeland Security Secretary, Chad Wolf, who is not only taking credit for sending those federal troops into Portland, he's proud of it. He's bragging about it. And if Combe-over Caligula has his way, there will be troops sent into other major U.S. cities like New York, Chicago, L.A., Albuquerque, New Mexico. What do all these cities have in common? Anybody? That's right. They are all run by Democratic mayors. Go figure. Anyway, Chad Wolf, acting Department of Homeland Security, you are my asshole of the week. Speaking of Portland and who isn't, because whatever stories are in the news this week, I think Portland certainly supersedes all of them. I'm not sure what to say. First of all, we all know, if you're listening to this broadcast or watching it, you, like me, believe that what they're doing is illegal, unconstitutional, and a violation of people's right to protest. But see, they're using an excuse. I call them Hitler's Gestapo. And I'm sorry, Twitler's Gestapo. Oh, comparisons. Ooh, that was Freudian. Yeah, Twitler's Gestapo. And I don't think I'm being hyperbolic. It's simply the truth. These masked, nameless criminals in fatigue, and yes, they are criminals, are attacking peaceful protesters, justifying their actions by saying they're vandalizing and defacing the federal building. Well, maybe a few people did that. And maybe there has been some violence in Portland in the past few months, but it was tampering down. These motherfuckers went in and brought it to a crescendo. I mean, it's a symphony of violence that they have created. And why? Um, I just don't understand. This is active fascism in the streets of America. I also believe it's a deliberate attempt on the part of Schittler and his handlers, because let's get real. He's not smart enough to come up with all this on his own. But I'm sure he thinks if it'll help him get reelected, hey, all for it. So who is behind it? I mean, is it Putin? Stephen Miller? Roy Cohn, Supreme? And let's not forget our old buddy Richard Barr, the Attorney General, the man who, well, let's just say Attorney General Barr doesn't seem to have a problem crossing that line from legal to illegal. He's done it in the past, and he's doing it now. It's amazing to me because, on the one hand, he is an Opus Dei religious fanatic. On the other hand, he doesn't mind sending these fatigued assholes out to perpetuate violence against peaceful protesters. People using their constitutional right to say, no, enough is enough. We won't take any more of this. I believe they want people to fight back. I believe they want to perpetuate violence, not just their violence, but they want to incite violence upon the people they are attacking. And why? That's the big question. Why would they want this? Why would Twitler want it? Why would Barr want it? Why would little behind the scenes Stephen Miller want it? Why would Putin want it? Here's why. If enough of this goes on, they can declare martial law. And if they declare martial law, all bets are off. I mean, what could they do? Could they cancel the election? I don't know. I think that's what they're aiming for. I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but when you send faceless, nameless people in fatigues, out to kidnap people off the streets of an American city without due justice, without anything, something is very, very wrong. And so far, no one in our government is stopping it. No one, I mean, a few people have stepped up and said, this has to end and all that. But it's still going on. And I don't know what the Democratic Congress can do, but they need to do something. I mean, how about going after Barr? I've been screaming that for weeks now. Go after Barr. Oh, we can't. It's an election year. Bullshit. Bullshit. This man is a criminal. He has broken the oath he swore to defend the Constitution of the United States. Hell, they've all broken that oath more times than I can count. So something needs to be done. And unfortunately, I don't have any answers. Obviously, they don't either, but we need to come up with some, because this country is going down the toilet really fast. And it's getting really scary out there. And I know you folks are as scared as I am. I've never seen anything like this in my life. And I grew up on books like Sinclair Lewis's It Can't Happen Here, which is a book that says, oh, yes, it can happen here. He wrote it in 1935 during Hitler's rise to power and his attempt to start the war to take over Europe. And it's as it's as fitting today as it was then. So that's what I have to say about that. Now, before we go, I didn't want to end on that note because that's just bleh. So I want to give a shout out to several people and groups who I think earned it this week. And first up is the moms and dads in Portland who courageously stood up to these Gestapo fucks sent in by the ignoramus in chief and his insipid little toady, Mr. Wolf. Let's not forget him. These people, the moms first went out, stood arm in arm, and were attacked. They stood peacefully, arm in arm, and these bastards attacked them. So next day, the dads came out, and they had leaf blowers to dissipate the gas that was being thrown at them. And I don't know if that works, but what a great idea. And at least it's something to hit back with. And I love this. One guy came with a hockey stick so that when they threw tear gas canisters at them, he could just hockey stick it right back at them. This did not go over well with them. Another go figure. Anyway, they have shown the courage that we expect Americans to show in the face of adversity. It's just we don't usually deal with adversity from our own. I also want to thank a guy who is an American hero. This is retired Lieutenant General Russell Honore, the man who led the response against Hurricane Katrina. He was on MSNBC's 11th Hour, and he said the following while watching tape of the so-called federal troops, Eric Prince's mercenaries, whoever. He was watching them on tape using batons and tear gas in their attacks on civilians peacefully protesting. They even attacked a Navy veteran who was only trying to talk to them. This is a long quote, but I think it deserves to be heard. General Honore said this, and this is a direct quote. They were wearing military uniforms. That uniform represents the cloth of our nation for people who don't draw overtime, who serve around the world at the direction of the National Command Authority, and it's not to be used as an instrument of protest suppression. That uniform is designed to blend into terrain, not to make you look like a warrior. They're wearing these uniforms as a function of intimidation to look like warriors. Real soldiers don't just walk up to people and start beating on them. Real police don't do that. The police have the authority to detain you. And then somebody else will decide whether you get charged or whether you go to jail for whatever offense you may have violated. They, meaning the federal troops / Eric Prince mercenaries, are acting like an uncontrolled mob on the street with uniforms and badges that they don't show. You shouldn't. Police don't do this. What kind of bullshit is this? Not my words, General Honore's words. So I want to thank him for going on live television and doing that and saying that, because this is a man who has credibility. And he did this on behalf of the American people. So I, for one, am grateful. Finally, heroes come in all shapes and sizes and in a variety of ways. I'd like to give my personal kudos out to the Portland performance artist known as Naked Athena, or as many media outlets are calling her, Portland's Lady Godiva. As the Gestapo attacked, Athena, naked as the day she was born, struck ballet poses. She reclined on the street and finally sat on the asphalt in a yoga position with her legs spread wide. I can't imagine what those fascist motherfuckers were thinking. But she sat there as the oncoming horde of fascist troops came at her. And interestingly, no one touched her. Side note, appearing nude in public in the city of Portland is a protected form of political expression. And I'd say Athena's form of protest was quite effective, so bravo to her. And on that note, it's time for me and this week's show to say farewell. I hope you can join me next time on The World According to, you got it, me.